Welcome to everyone, and thank you for joining us in the one place where the drive to create aligns perfectly with the goal of success. I'm Ignacio Ayago, CEO of Whale Analytics, and if you're watching this video, it's because you want to learn how artificial intelligence can help take your investments to the next level. So, let's get started. Does this sound familiar? It's 11 p.m. You've been working all day, and instead of resting, you're trying to decipher the market from your computer, your phone, your tablet, any device you can get your hands on. You feel the pressure, the uncertainty, the fear of making a bad decision and losing the money you've worked so hard to earn. Maybe you believe that all you need to invest is money and intuition, but the truth is, every time you make a decision without a deep analysis behind it, you're not investing, you're gambling. And let me be completely honest with you, you're at a clear disadvantage. But what if I told you that you don't have to face this alone, that you could have an exclusive mentor available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, an expert who doesn't get carried away by panic or euphoria, and who has access to a universe of data that no human could ever process? Here you have it before you. I present to you the OrionONE Artificial Intelligence Assistant. It's not just a chat. It's your personal investment co-pilot, your expert advisor. It's not here to replace you, but to empower you. It's the perfect combination of the most advanced artificial intelligence and your human talent. A talent, knowledge, and experience that you will develop every day with each interaction you have with OrionONE. But enough with theories, because I don't want to just tell you about it. I want you to see it for yourself. I want you to see why this completely changes the game. I'm going to ask the assistant a series of questions, the kind you might ask yourself every day, and we'll see how it responds. So, let's start with the first one. Imagine you're interested in Bitcoin. But instead of reading 20 news articles and spending hours upon hours searching for some useful information, you simply ask it to analyze Bitcoin for you. You ask, "I've already analyzed Bitcoin here." I click to view the image. And now I have the technical analysis, fundamental analysis, recession probability, volatility metrics, and so on. If I go here to edit the dashboard, I can see that I already have all the KPIs with all the data. Everything is already done here. I've requested the Bitcoin analysis, and now I have it all right here, fully complete. Now, I'm simply going to enlarge this so the chat is visible, and I'll just ask, what is the current sentiment around Bitcoin, and what key data could impact it? Then I hit send. In seconds, OrionONE processes thousands of data points, macro, micro, news, social media, sentiment, and more, all to give you a quick, clear, and direct answer. You don't have to guess the market's mood. You know it, plain and simple. That's it. It's that straightforward, with 100% objectivity. And I want to make a brief clarification. This is not a ChatGPT, and I want to remind you of that. What we're dealing with here is a response based on data extracted through an analysis using artificial intelligence, neural networks, deep learning, machine learning, and so on. These are analytical AI models for data analysis and techniques that differ from models like, for example, ChatGPT, etc. This is just something to keep in mind. I won't go into detail about it now because this isn't the time or place. We've covered it in other videos where we explain it, but it's just so you're aware. So, what do we have here? Well, we're looking at the analysis of Bitcoin, which provides the following information. I'll summarize it for you quickly. It simply tells us that the current sentiment is 19.94. We don't know what this means. We keep reading, and it tells us that this classifies as complacency, suggesting that the market is in a situation that could indicate a potential risk of correction if conditions change. So, we're in a complacent bull market, a relatively positive level with the risk of a minor correction. Then we keep reading, and here it gives us volatility, key indicators, and so on. We scroll down to the summary. We'll do this quickly. And it says, although the current sentiment in the Bitcoin market shows complacency, macroeconomic and technical factors such as volatility, interest rates, and economic growth may influence sentiment and price. And it tells us, it's important to consider both technical and fundamental indicators when evaluating Bitcoin. It's talking about Bitcoin sentiment, but it suggests that we should carry out a more technical analysis. So, all right, let's move on to the second part. We're going to conduct that more technical analysis. And now, I've asked it, analyze Bitcoin technically. And what does it say? It tells me, according to Bitcoin's technical analysis, and then it gives us a series of data. I'll summarize it for you very quickly. General trend. The general trend of Bitcoin is bullish. The trend's strength is 7.4 out of 10, indicating a solid upward trend. The 200-day, 134-day, and 50-day trends are all bullish, confirming an upward trend in the long, medium, and short term. We can see that it has a strong, solid upward trend, one that projects a bullish outlook for the future. As we continue, it discusses the indicators, volatility, and projections. For instance, an interesting detail we notice here is the projections, which tell us the short-term projection over 30 days indicates such and such, representing a bearish variation. It's telling us that in the short term, there could be a correction, something we had already anticipated given the market's sentiment of complacency. This correction could occur and align with the overall market sentiment. It also tells us that the 90-day projection is bullish and the 365-day projection is very bullish. So, what does this mean? Well, we read the summary below. And in short, the technical analysis of Bitcoin shows an overall bullish trend, but with mixed signals in the short term. While the long-term sentiment is positive, short-term indicators suggest caution due to decreasing volatility and neutral signals from the indicators. So, it's already telling us that in the long term, it's bullish. But in the short term, it could technically undergo a correction. This aligns with the previous response, which pointed out that we're in a moment of complacency, where such a correction could occur. All right then, what should we do here? Let's move on to the next section, where and how to invest and how to go about it. So, we've come this far, but what if you don't know where to start? Well, let's just ask it to do some of the work for us. I asked it, find me a trading strategy for Bitcoin with a positive expected value and create a professional management plan. And here's what it tells us. It says that, according to the Bitcoin Market Investment Analysis Report and the available information, it presents a trading strategy with a positive expected value and a professional management approach. It goes on to say, identification of the strategy. And here it states that, since the report indicates a general bullish trend for Bitcoin with mixed short-term signals, we'll focus on bullish strategies with prudent risk management. We can already see how it's adapting to the market. Trading strategy, buying on pullbacks at key support levels, taking advantage of the overall bullish trend. It suggests, or rather develops, a strategy not to jump straight into buying Bitcoin, but instead to craft a personalized trading approach tailored to the current market conditions. For example, it highlights the general bullish trend, the state of the indicators, and an analysis of crossovers with a win rate of 90%. A staggering 90% success probability for these crossovers. That's remarkable. And look here, for instance, it provides a long-term bullish price projection, though it notes potential corrections in the short term. It also mentions seasonality. Considering that we're in June, a month that historically doesn't show very strong performance, it advises taking a more cautious position. Pay attention to this. It's telling us that we're now in June, and it has analyzed all of June's historical performance, the seasonality of Bitcoin, and so on. And it's clearly stating that this isn't one of the strongest months in terms of high returns. Considering all the previous context, including market sentiment and technical analysis, it suggests adopting more cautious positions. And take a look here at the fully developed professional management strategy. It outlines the entry point, identifying key levels. Since there are no clear support levels where the price interacts, it uses the ATR, average true range, to estimate a dynamic support level, which tends to be more effective. And here, it directly calculates the dynamic support for us, meaning we need zero math skills. It even does the calculation and provides the support levels, which, as it already explained, are where we should buy during pullbacks. This would be the entry price. It specifies the entry, place a limit buy order near that level. In other words, it's already telling us exactly what to do. It even runs a simulation. If we wanted to invest 1,000 euros, it shows how that could be managed to limit risk. It also calculates the stop loss for us, again using the ATR, average true range, to ensure a risk-reward ratio that is favorable. Then, it calculates the take profit as well, meaning it tells us the entry point, the exit point, the profit-taking level, and the risk limitation with the stop loss. Here, it mentions active management, daily monitoring, tracking the price, and adjusting the stop loss as needed to protect profits or minimize losses. It also explains how we should adjust the take profit level depending on whether the trade moves in our favor or not, to secure gains, take partial profits, and so on. It provides the position size calculation as well. For example, if the suggested position is 1,000 euros and I have 3,000 euros, I simply triple the amount and that's it. And here, it gives us the calculation of the trade's expected value. Pay attention to this. Success probability, 90%, based on the win rate of the net brute oscillator for crossovers. Average gain, 6,264 euros. Probability of loss, 10%. Average loss, 4,176 euros. Here, it calculates the expected value, and it's clear that since the probability of success is higher than failure, if we consistently execute this type of trade with a positive expected value, we'll end up winning in the long run. And this is incredibly powerful. You've realized it too, and you know it. We've just analyzed the entire Bitcoin market with the ease of sending a WhatsApp message to a friend. We've created our own personalized strategy in less than 10 seconds. If I didn't have to explain it, it would have taken me 10 seconds, just 3 messages. What does this mean? It saves you hours or even days of manual research, subjectivity, and so on. And the best part is that it has a positive expected value. In other words, a profitable strategy. So, as you can see, with just 3 questions and without knowing anything about this market, you could have analyzed it completely and, in less than 5 minutes, started trading from scratch with a fully developed professional strategy. But let's be clear, this isn't just an assistant, it's also a mentor. So let's move on to example number 4. And here's where the magic happens. OrionONE doesn't just give you answers, it teaches you. Because really, why would you spend thousands of euros and countless hours on online courses when you can have your own intelligent tutor that teaches you exactly what you need to succeed with your investments? And the best part? It adapts to your pace and your level of knowledge. So, let's dive in. I asked it this. I've heard the term PR somewhere, but I don't really know what it is or how it might affect my investments. Can you explain what PER is, as if I were a beginner? And why might a low PER be a good thing? And here's what it told me. PER stands for price to earnings, or the price to earnings ratio. It's a widely used financial indicator to assess whether a stock is expensive or cheap in relation to the profits the company generates. It explains how it's calculated, gives us an example, tells us why a low PER can be a good thing, provides the reasons why a low PER might be attractive, and then warns us, careful, not everything that glitters is gold. It even offers a series of considerations to keep in mind. At this point, I could ask it, What's Apple's PER? What does it mean in this context? How is Apple doing? How should I interpret it? From there, I could continue connecting the dots and carry out further analyses on other markets, Apple, Nvidia, or any others I choose. And there you have it. This simple. You learn at your own pace. Every question makes you a smarter investor. It's faster and more personalized than any course you could find online, simply because it adapts to your real doubts at the exact moment you have them. It's that simple. And here you see it. OrionONE is not a crystal ball, nor is it a shortcut to getting rich overnight. Let me make that clear. Investing requires commitment. What it is, however, is the tool that levels the playing field. It gives you access to a level of analysis and knowledge that was once reserved only for major investment funds or professional traders. With OrionONE, for the first time, you'll be able to operate without fear or greed, relying on data instead of emotions. And most importantly, the final decision is always yours. It's your co-pilot, but you're the one behind the wheel. We give you the control to make informed, confident, and profitable decisions. Every day you spend making decisions based on intuition, rumors, or incomplete information, you're putting your money at a risk you no longer need to take. The time has come to take real control of your finances, to invest with confidence, precision, and an expert mentor by your side. So, if you're interested in learning more about OrionONE and gaining access to your free demo license to see it in action and perform these same analyses yourself, click the first link in the description now and get your OrionONE license for €0, completely free. Join the new generation of investors, a generation that doesn't leave their financial future to chance. Best regards to everyone, and good luck with your trades.